Okay. Good evening and welcome to the December 3rd council meeting. If you'd please stand and join us in the flag salute, it will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Howie this evening.
Good evening and to a happy holiday season. Please salute our great flag. Ready? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a special treat this evening. Our Chino Valley Community Chorus is going to sing a few songs for us for this holiday season. And our leader this evening is Rebecca Gordon. Rebecca?
Thank you. Our first song that we will do for you is called The Perfect Christmas Night, and it is from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the one starring Jim Carrey.
I've got the Christmas tree, I've got the memories, I got the box of decorations, I've got the tinsel strung, the mistletoe's been hung, I got the means of celebration. I got the lights down low, the skies are streaming snow, I got the Yule logs burning bright. And by the Christmas tree, I got you here with me, I got the perfect Christmas night. Shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop. I've got a box of dreams with a Christmas theme, but tonight I won't be sleeping. I've got Bing Crosby on, have all my troubles gone, with the spirit I can keep me. I got the presents wrapped, I got the boxes stacked, I put out those Christmas lights all around the tree, like it all should be. I got the perfect Christmas night. Shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop. I've got the Christmas tree, I've got the memories, I've got the box of decorations, I've got the tinsel strung, the mistletoe's been hung, I got the means of celebration. I got the lights hang low, the skies are dreaming snow, I got the Yule log burning bright. Beside the Christmas tree, I got you here with me, I got the perfect Christmas night. And by the Christmas tree, I got you here with me, I got the perfect Christmas night. Shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop, shoo-doo-wop, wah, wah, wah.
The second song we'd like to do for you is Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone.
Candles in the window.
Thank you. Before we do our last song, we would like to let you know that we're having a concert on Monday, December 16th at 7 p.m. It's at the Mormon Church in Chino Hills, and the theme is Lights, Camera, Christmas. So all of our songs are going to be from movies and things, like the two that we've already done. Would you like to hear one more? All right, fantastic. We would like to do for you Merry Christmas, and this is from Home Alone 2. Got a Home Alone theme going. All right, thank you very much. We've enjoyed being here. Thank you for being a great audience.
Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, sing a song for a happy new year. Sing merrily, merrily, loud and strong. Welcome the wintry season. Just follow along with the holiday song. Santa is here again, yes. Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, sing a song for a happy new year. The reindeer flying is merely a matter of reason. Just listen, you'll hear when you land on the roof. Santa is here again, yes. Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, sing a song for a happy new year. Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, it's a magical, lyrical, annual miracle. Sing along now, sing a song for a happy new year. Deck the hall with boughs of holly. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. Sing merrily, merrily, loud and strong. Welcome the wintry season. Just follow along with the holiday song. Santa is here again, yes. Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, sing a song for a happy new year. Merry Christmas, sing a song for the glorious season. Merry Christmas, it's a magical, miracle, annual miracle. Sing along now, sing a song for a happy new year.
Thank you all for being here this evening. It's always so fun. We're going to take a short break now, and when we return, we will continue with the ceremonial presentations. Our first presentation this evening is going to be the recognition of our 2019 Sports Legend Award winner. This recognition is awarded to an individual who has dedicated a minimum of 5 years as a volunteer to a Chino-based youth sports group. Nominees are considered for their demonstrated leadership, teaching ability, dedication to youth, sportsmanship, and positive coaching. Our 2019 Sports Legend Award winner is Mr. John Cadenas. Would you please come up? John, have your family come up too. Bring your bring your family up. Sure, all of them. Is that the whole audience? They can come up. Sure. Yeah, come on up. Come up. This is special. Come on, family.
Come on.
Come on. We have some laggers here. Come on, come on. John is with AYSO Region 67. John's been volunteering with AYSO Region 67 for over 15 years in all aspects, including, but not limited to, coaching, refereeing, assisting in the snack bar, and for the past 4 years, running the program as regional commissioner. John dedicates much of his free time to coaching multiple soccer teams in different age divisions, which currently includes his 8-year-old daughter and his 5-year-old son. He sets up and tears down the soccer fields on game day, runs practices for 1 to 2 hours each day of the week, attends multiple required meetings per month to make sure he's up to date on all rules and regulations, all of which happens on his own after his own full-time job ends. He's attended many AYSO national expos throughout the years and has been trained and certified in everything required of his position in order to help all volunteers in the program succeed in the city of Chino. John absolutely loves this community and does everything necessary to help the program and community prosper. John's level of involvement, commitment, dedication, and love for soccer is very evident in his positive attitude and the sacrifices he makes to make sure everyone can experience the 6 philosophies of AYSO. Everyone plays, balanced teams, open registration, positive coaching, good sportsmanship, and player development. He instills this in his players to enhance their skills, be good sports, and to be positive to one another. John is exactly why AYSO Region 67 was named Region of the Year in 2017-18 and why the program runs successfully every year. Thankfully, John will be around for a while as his younger children are still playing. Congratulations to John, the 2019 Chino Sports Legend Award recipient. John, we have this plaque that reads City of Chino Sports Legend Youth Volunteer Award presented to John Cardenas in recognition of your many years of dedicated service to the youth of Chino in 2019. Now, would you like to say a few words and introduce your family?
Okay, I have my wife here, Farah, my daughter, Briella, my son, Davey, my mom and dad, Marshall and Alma, Dom, Val, Chris, John, Patrick. These are all kids I've coached. They're not my actual kids, but they are my kids that we've adopted over the years. So my sister, Alma, and Buddy Tooley, and my little nephew, Charlie. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Obviously, thank you, everybody, for coming. I have kids that showed up in the back that I'm coaching right now. Thank you for this honor. And most importantly, the fields that the city provides us for our kids in our program are beautiful, and we thank you. And we couldn't do it without you guys, and I couldn't do it without all my volunteers in the program, and obviously my family, the backing. So thank you.
We want Well, we want to thank you for your dedication, John. You've made such a difference in so many kids' lives, and we hope that you continue your success. You just have made an amazing difference in the city of Chino. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here this evening. Let's give him another hand. Okay, next we have our Mayor's Home Beautification Award for December. And the winner this month is Kim Puchowski. She lives at 13419 Saratoga Place. Kim, would you like to come up, please? Oh, you are here, Paul. Okay. It's Kim and Paul. Okay, our certificate reads, thank you for your continued improvement and maintenance of your home, resulting in a substantial contribution to the overall appearance of the community. And it's presented this day from the mayor and the city council of Chino. also have a picture of your beautiful home. We have a pin and pen set for each of you. And of course, we have the coveted yard sign, should you choose to put it up. You want to wear it around your neck? Wow. That's kind of heavy. Now, who does all of the maintenance?
He does.
Well, I'm a retired law enforcement officer, so I have a lot of time on my hands right now.
I think Wes will probably talk to you afterwards, see if you want to do some volunteer work. Well, we really thank you for the beautiful way you keep up your yard. It makes a difference in all the neighborhoods.
Definitely does. He's the
No,
talker.
just, we lived in Chino for, 27, 28 years, and we love the city of Chino. Just everything about the city, the parks, the roads, the maintenance, the council, police, fire. It's an incredible city. And we've come close many times moving out, looking for, different areas to move, but we always come back to Chino. We love Chino. No intention to move.
We agree, right?
Good.
Thank you very much for the way you keep up your home.
you.
It's just
Appreciate
beautiful, and thank you for staying in Chino. Okay, here you are. We don't have a necklace for you, though. You're going to have to get that on your own. Okay, Mr. City Manager, do we have any additions or revisions to our agenda?
Mayor, I have no changes to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Next is public announcements. First, I want to give one last reminder that this Saturday, December 7th, please come on out to the 8th Annual Reindeer Romp at Ayala Park, located at 5665 Edison Avenue. Here, individuals of all ages and capabilities can reach their fitness goals by participating in the 5K or 10K, both beginning at 8:15. Or, for those 6 and under, the quarter-mile kids run, which begins at 8. For more information, please visit www.active.com and search Reindeer Romp 2019. Also happening on the 7th is the Breakfast with the Grinch at the Preserve Community Center from 9 to 11. Here, kids ages 6 to 15 are invited to enjoy great food, make various crafts, and watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Pre-registration is required with a registration fee of $25 for residents and $35 for non-residents. For more information, please call 909-334-3261. And lastly, please mark on your calendar our annual Chino Youth Christmas Parade and Fair starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday, December 14th. The parade will start on the corner of Riverside Drive and Monte Vista Avenue, then we'll head east on Riverside Drive and take a south turn on Central Avenue, ending at Chino Avenue. Following the parade, make sure you stop at the Civic Center to enjoy free carnival rides, family entertainment, craft fairs, and Santa's Village at the Chino Youth Museum. For more information, please call our Community Services Department at 909-334-3256. Okay, next on our agenda is the time for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the council on items that do not appear elsewhere. We can't take action on anything that's not agendized, but we'd like to hear your concerns. Our first written request to speak is from Mr. John Mata from the Calvary Chapel, Chino Valley. He's going to lead us in an invocation, so I'd like to invite anyone who would like to join us to please stand.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and hope you have a Merry Christmas on behalf of Calvary Chapel, Chino Valley, and Pastor David Rosales. Thank you for this honor. So let's pray. Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus. There are so many things to be thankful for this evening. Everything we have is because of your abundant grace and mercy. Thank you for the gift of life. And thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of Chino. Give us a spirit of service and remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders of your people that your people need, and help us to see the humanity and dignity in this city and to treat all people with reverence and respect. Continue to guide our mayor with wisdom and discernment. Guide the council members, the city manager, our city attorney. Guide with your eye, Lord, our police chief. Protect all police officers, fire departments, first responders, and all the leadership you have entrusted to oversee and lead this city. Please watch over their families and their loved ones, and for all those who reside here in Chino. We lift up the agenda that is set before this council meeting this evening. Please give an assurance of what we would please you and what would benefit those who work in and around this beloved city of Chino. And we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, next request to speak is Richard Sherman.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about, again, the continuing late-night airplane noise issue over Ontario, East Chino. This is obviously not Santa and his 8 tiny reindeer over our neighborhoods. First, I wanted to thank Vivian Castro for attending the Ontario Airport Authority meetings and taking time from her vacation to be with us, and for the City Council to support us. Our group has posted over 200 jet noise complaints in the last 2 months with the Ontario Airport WebTrack website and the FAA. We've listed 36 late-night noise violators at the Ontario Airport meetings on November 26th. There were 3 UPS flights on November 28th from 3:18 a.m. to 3:40 a.m. in the middle of a heavy rainstorm. And I sent a message to the airport manager, Dennis Anderson, and the FAA tower manager, noting that this was an unsafe flying condition to be going so low over our residential area. This is between 2,800 and 3,700 feet in a rainstorm, in a heavy rainstorm. On Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. So, I posted that with them. We're still demanding the Part 150 noise mitigation issue to be reopened for review with the Ontario Airport Authority. Their legal counsel, Ms. Balance, stated in a September 24th meeting that this noise issue should be addressed in a closed session and open for discussion due to existing facts. So their own legal counsel has mentioned that this should be opened for discussion, the Part 150 noise mitigation. Nothing has been done. Nobody's opened it, nobody's asked for it. I did some research where the FAA has a fee that it's taken out of every airplane ticket that is purchased for noise abatement. So you figure there's over 5 million people going out of Ontario Airport every year. So there has to be a fund for this noise abatement issue. They use this money for maintenance and noise decibel machines and other sound, for homes, for sound deadening noise abatement for homes and things like that. So I'm sure there's funds for the noise abatement that. So what I'm asking is if the city council or the city has some noise decibel meter device that could be used at possibly at the corner of San Antonio and Riverside Drive. If the police department has it or if the city service yard has it, if that's available to use, because Christmas is obviously coming in the next few weeks. And the flights are going to be a lot worse in the next 3 weeks. It's generally between Monday nights through Wednesday from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And there's a vacant lot on San Antonio and Riverside Drive, if it's possible. If there's a noise decibel meter that the city has that's available, and catch some of these late night flights and get some of these readings. Because those ones that flew over the house on Thanksgiving morning were very loud and very low. And I just thought it was just very dangerous for them to be flying that low into a storm over East Chino.
Matt, is that something that we could do? Do we have one of those machines available?
Yeah, but I would probably, if that's the desire and we want to get accurate readings and stuff, we probably ought to let out a consultant that specializes in this, collect that data,
Okay.
so.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. Yeah, I think maybe the council needs to be briefed on what we've heard and what we've done so far, bring us back up to date. Okay, that's the only written request I have to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Okay, we do have it. Oh, Josie, come on up.
Good morning, Madam Mayor.
No, it's evening.
Afternoon, evening, I'm sorry, Tony. And City Council, Tony just wanted to come today. He asked me to bring him to this meeting because the Department of Accessibility is going to discuss some things tonight. And I really appreciate all the City of Chino has done for Tony. Because of all the accessibility that's been done through Natalie and through Mario in that department, Tony is able to be as independent as he can possibly be. And he has also looked into getting different things from Omnitrans, getting a bench put in over there where the bus stop is, and just the signals, and he's really been an advocate for the visually impaired or blind. So I'm really proud of Tony, and he just wanted to thank everyone. So here you go, Tony.
I just want to thank the American Disability Act Division in Chino, who have really turned my life around for many more years to come. And as I keep traveling independent every day in my life.
Well, you're certainly welcome,
Thank you.
Tony. You're welcome. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Now, we do have a tradition. I don't see any kids in the audience, but we do sometimes have high school and college students here who need to come to the council and speak for a class requirement or maybe a scouting requirement. Do we have anyone in the audience that needs to address the council this evening? If so, you're welcome to come up. You're looking at each other. Do you need to come up?
We don't need to speak, we just need to hear what you guys are saying.
Well, we require you to come up and give us your name and the school that you attend. Your name, no, right there. Give us your name, the school you attend, the class you're taking, and your teacher.
My name is Curtis Cox. I attend Iola High School. The class is Gov, and Mr. Allen is the teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. Young lady?
Hi, my name is Danielle Fairbanks. I attend Ayala High School, and this project is for our U.S. government class, and our teacher is Mr. Allen.
Well, thank you very much for coming this evening. Now, we see a young man in the audience. Would you like to come up and address the council on anything? Uh-huh. No? Okay, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do any, let's see, we need to pull item number 2 for separate action. Do any council members wish to have any other item pulled? Okay, then I would entertain a motion. It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Howie, seconded from Mr. Hargrove, and please vote. Okay, Paul, this is on the rest of the, on everything else. So would you like to change your vote to a yes? Okay. So the consent calendar passes 4 yes, 1 absent being Mr. Lucio. Okay, now we're going to take action on the minutes of November 19th, which Mr. Rodriguez was absent. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Hargrove. Now, it passes 3 yes, 1 abstention. Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Lucio is absent. Next, under public hearings, we have item number 9, annexation number 5 of territory into existing community facilities district number 2003-3. We're going to conduct a public hearing, adopt resolution 2019-087, calling a special election for the purpose of approving an annexation into improvement area number 5 of the community facilities district number 2003-3, and adopt resolution number 2019-088, declaring the results of the special election. I'd like to declare the public hearing open and ask for a staff report from our Director of Finance, Rob Burns.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. On October 15th, the City Council adopted resolution number 2019-064, declaring the City of Chino's intent to annex properties owned by Watson Land Company into Improvement Area 5 for the purpose of collecting city services tax. Annexing these properties and collection of these revenues will be used to fulfill the council's direction that new development within the preserve pay the cost of all the services being provided. These services include maintenance of parks, open space, and public safety services. Tonight's actions are to adopt the required resolutions for the annexation into the CFD, call for a special election, and immediately hold the special election and tally the election results. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the proceedings as outlined by the Mayor this evening. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, do any council members have questions of Mr. Burns? Okay, are there any members of the public that would like to make a comment on item number 9? Okay, seeing none, then we will close the public hearing. And at this time, we're ready to call for a motion to approve resolution number 2019-87. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Hargrove. Item passes 4 yes with 1 absence. The resolution just adopted calls for a special election to approve an annexation into improvement area number 5 of the Community Facilities District number 2003-3. Our city clerk, Angela Robles, will now open the ballots and give us the results.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. All ballots have been cast in connection with the election to annex territory into Improvement Area 5 of CFD 2003-3, and the election has now been closed. The results of the election were unanimous with 205 votes in favor of the proposition. Thank you.
Having read the statement of the city clerk, I'll now entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2019-088, certifying the results of the election. Motion from Councilman Hargrove, second from Councilman Rodriguez. The item passes 4 yes, 1 absent. That concludes the public hearing. We'll now move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, item number 10, policy on accessible pedestrian facilities. This is to adopt resolution number 2019-065, approving a citywide policy on accessible pedestrian facilities. Staff report this evening will be provided by Natalie Sparrow, our accessibility coordinator.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to present this report to you tonight. Federal and state civil rights laws, such as the Unruh Civil Rights Act of 1959, the Architectural Barriers Act of 1968, California Disabled Persons Act of 1968, Section 504 of the Rehab Act of 1973, and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 establish the basic rights of disabled persons and declare that no individual with a disability shall be subject to discrimination. More specifically, these laws prohibit discrimination against individuals with disabilities by requiring the design and construction of pedestrian facilities such as sidewalks, curb ramps, and crosswalks meet or exceed specific technical requirements. Whether publicly or privately owned, pedestrian facilities available for use by the public are required to be accessible if the construction was commenced after January 26, 1992. pedestrian facilities not designed and constructed in accordance with these regulations discriminate against individuals with disabilities by preventing them from accessing and using the services the cities and others provide. In a concerted effort to respond to challenges in the application of these requirements and uphold its responsibilities under the ADA, over the past year and a half, the city has created a new employment position, the Accessibility Coordinator, provided support and training to existing staff on accessibility requirements, and hired 8 new staff members in the Development Services and Public Works Department who are dedicated to understanding and implementing accessibility requirements. Furthermore, at the council workshop held in May of this year, residents, community stakeholders, and staff communicated the need for clarity on how to design and construct and inspect accessible pedestrian facilities. In response to these concerns, staff was directed to draft a policy that compiles the federal, state, and local regulations into one document, thereby documenting the city's requirements, providing staff and community stakeholders with clarity as they work to implement the regulations, and reducing the occurrence of construction errors on new projects and preventing the need for costly reconstruction. The policy on accessible pedestrian facilities fulfills this directive by providing a compilation and clarification of existing federal and state laws. The content of the policy is not new, as it is directly derived from these laws and regulations. Any differences between the regulations were resolved, and the prevailing provision was included in the policy. The policy was developed in cooperation with Chino residents, city staff, and stakeholders in the development community, and the content of the policy was specifically derived from the questions and comments that I received over the last 14 months of my employment. The draft policy document was posted for public review by community stakeholders and residents on October 30th. The comments were thoughtfully considered, and where appropriate, incorporated into the final policy document. This policy facilitates the implementation of the Federal Highway Administration's Safe Routes to School program, California's Complete Streets Law, and the state legislator's mandate to increase levels of pedestrian travel by providing convenient and safe passage for pedestrians, whether by foot, wheelchair, walker, or stroller. The policy also facilitates the implementation of the city's bicycle and pedestrian master plan, the Preserve and College Park specific plans, and Healthy Chino initiative. In sum, the policy on accessible pedestrian facilities will allow staff and others to design and construct the infrastructure that provides residents with the opportunity to walk, bike, and get around the community, no matter what their age or ability. Accessible sidewalks, crosswalks, and parks and buildings contribute to our thriving community and guarantee that everyone is able to participate fully and equally in civic life. In conclusion, staff recommends that City Council adopt Resolution number 2019-065, approving the policy on accessible pedestrian facilities. This hereby concludes my report. Staff and I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Are there any questions or comments from council members?
Maybe. I just want to say thanks to all the staff, Matt, and your direction to them. And I know this hasn't been an easy task, and this is something that I thought was at the forefront when I came on the council for sure. And I know it's taken a while to get there, but even for myself, I've sat down and tried to read and understand this stuff, and it can be complicated at times. And I'm so appreciative of Natalie and probably all the work that she's put into this, I'm certain, and all the other staff. And I'm glad that we now have a document, at least, that we can provide people. I mean, everybody should have already understood what that was, but it's always better to put something in writing that we know, whether it's the builders or the residents or whatever, can come and understand that we're going to go forward. I know we have a lot of work to do still. This doesn't by any means get us to the end of where we need to be, but it certainly is a great start and a foundation. So thanks very much for that.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, I understand the ADA, and there's no buts about it that it's federal law, and we have to abide by that. Is the report completely complete for everyone, or is there more time that's needed for everyone to be understanding of this?
It's anticipated that it is complete. It's
Fully.
gone through extensive review.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we do have a couple of written requests to speak, the first being Mr. Gordon Nichols from the BIA.
There it is. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for taking the time today. The Building Industry Association of Southern California submitted a letter to the City Council, and I'd like to just read the beginning of that really quickly. Dear Honorable Mayor and Council, the BIA appreciates the opportunity to provide comments to the City of Chino's draft accessibility policy during our meeting with staff on November 18th, 2019. Immediately following the meeting, BIA submitted several revisions set out below in this letter, which, if incorporated, we believe that the ADA policy will provide more clarity and certainty and predictability during implementation. In short, we believe, if incorporated our comments, this will be a better plan for both the applicant and the city. BIA is requesting that the adoption of the ADA policy be continued 60 days to allow staff to incorporate the 20-plus comments and revisions outlined below. Several BIA accessibility experts have reviewed this policy, and we believe their recommendations and amendments should be incorporated into the policy to eliminate any ambiguity or vagueness prior to adoption. So the BIA, we're looking for a little bit more time. We appreciate Matt and his staff for meeting with us, and we've set out a number of comments. We did just receive some comments from staff yesterday. We're still reviewing them. And we believe that the document, once again, we did ask for this. We appreciate all the hard work that's gone into it. We think that there's a lot more that needs to be refined, a lot of areas that need to be expounded upon. We believe that visual and diagrams and drawings and details are important to this document. And at the end of the day, we believe that additional time is not going to hurt anyone, and we want to bring it back to the council once it's refined and once it's ready. We've had one meeting with staff, and we've had about a month or so to review it, and we've had several experts on that. So we have about 20, 25 comments that we submitted to staff, and we received comments, and we'd like to discuss those comments a little bit further. Once again, the things that we are lacking, that we feel is the policy is lacking is more explanation in certain areas. Many of our comments were, what does this sentence mean? And so we want to eliminate that. And the other comments would be that we wanted some visual diagrams on what was anticipated here. I do want to let you know that staff did incorporate 2 or 3 of our comments in there, and we really appreciate that, but we'd like to talk about the remaining ones before it's adopted. Regardless if this plan is adopted tonight or not, we'd still like to work with staff to continue to refine it and improve it. Obviously, everything is a living document, but in lieu of adopting something, making revisions, making amendments, coming back and adopting it again, we think we can work with staff in the next 60 days to bring you an improved document, a document that has less ambiguity, is better for our members to build on, and is something that you can be proud to adopt. So right now, the BIA, we're asking for 60-day continuance on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Next written request to speak is Mr. Stubby Barr.
I didn't break anything this time. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
As you know, this subject is very near and dear to my heart. I am not only rather well versed in it, but I live and breathe this stuff every single day. I want to thank Natalie and the staff for all the work that's gone into this. This policy is just that, it's a policy. There is nothing new in this policy. The BIA is asking that the policy implementation be extended. If you implement this policy tonight or 2 years from now, It does not change any requirements. That's not what this policy is. This policy is a guideline. It is an amalgamation and reorganization of 5 or 6 different sources into one location so that our staff or developers or professional engineers can look at one document and have most of the answers. Obviously, you cannot address every single condition, but most of the answers that they will need to design, to build, and for us to inspect, and for you to accept these improvements without all of the issues that we have been experiencing. With that said, to augment the usefulness of this document, last meeting, I presented you with a breakdown of a cost for the remediation of some work that we had just done in a 3-year cycle. If we had had a policy similar to this in place at that time for staff to follow, there is an excellent chance that none of those general fund budget items would have had to be expended, possibly for minor things, but not to the extent of the large sum that ended up to me. With that said, this document is really unnecessary. It's unnecessary because it does not contain anything new. I read the BIA's comments. I was puzzled by some of them, but the majority of them are misconstrued, and they stem, I think, from a lack of comprehension of the document itself. So what I did, and I believe you all have a copy, I prepared a supplemental version of the policy. And after each individual item, I inserted a text box with the exact text of the law or the regulation or the best practice or the Chino Municipal Code that applies and provides the authority for those sections. It's very cut and dried. If you look at the language that Natalie used is derived from the same language of the statutes, the implementing regulations, the standards, and in our case, our own municipal code. So delaying this serves absolutely no purpose. Is it a living document? Everything is. There's always going to be conditions that arise that we find, hey, maybe we should address this. This is popping up too often. But that is, I believe, typical of any type of policy. What you are doing tonight is not an ordinance. You are not modifying any local laws. You are just collecting the local laws, the state laws, and the federal laws into one location where it becomes a useful tool, useful to us as the city, useful to developers, useful to the public at large, because the faster and the easier that we can make things accessible, the less discrimination that the disabled community experiences. So I encourage you to proceed with this. If changes need to be made, that can be addressed in the future. I think this is a huge step for the city, and this is no easy undertaking. This has been a lot of work for staff, a lot of work. But the result of it is it will make staff more productive, and it will also assist the builders. Many of the items that
Debbie, you're almost out of time.
I'm sorry, I don't have the clock. Many of the items that builders typically object to are actually items that are the most inexpensive for them to construct. They just don't realize it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
And
much.
Merry Christmas.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on item number 10? Okay, seeing none. My comments are, we have kicked this can down the road long enough. Staff, I think, has done an admirable job in digging into the details and putting something together that we can all use. If there are changes to it in the future, I'm sure we can address that. But I think, looking at the difficulties that we've faced over the last couple of years, it's time that we have a document that we can all use.
I have a comment. I believe that the guidelines are ADA, the law. And all the BAA is trying to do is to make clarification, which would make it easier. So 90 days is really nothing because the law is still there. But if you're going to be able to clear up certain wordings in certain sentences that are going to make it clear not only to the city, but to the citizens, why not? And only do it once. So that's what I would say.
We've already kicked this can around, Mr.
As I said,
Rodriguez, for
the
years.
ADA is the guideline.
It is the law.
It's already there. I know it is. That's what I'm saying. But give them time to make the clarifications that's going to be inclusive and clarify whatever it needs to be cleared.
I
so that everyone
respectfully
can
disagree.
understand.
Well, we've been addressing this for several years now, so this is not something new that we're tackling. Anyway, I would entertain a motion. There's a recommendation from staff to adopt resolution number 2019-065. There's a motion from Councilman Hargrove. Second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie. Please vote. This item passes 3 yes, 1 no, that being Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, item number 11, introduction of ordinance number 2000-19-020, amending Title 8 and 12 of the Chino Municipal Code. This is to approve the introduction of that ordinance, amending chapters 8.80 and 12.20 of the Chino Municipal Code to address changes in federal law regarding sleeping and camping on public property. Staff report this evening will be provided by Mr. Andy Bielen, who is one of our police captains. Andy?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The current Chino Municipal Code 8.80 makes it unlawful to camp in the public rights-of-way, parks, and other areas open to the public. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in Martin versus City of Boise that municipal ordinances such as this violate the Eighth Amendment if it imposes criminal sanctions against homeless individuals for sleeping outdoors on public property when no alternative shelter is available. In order to comply with the Boise decision, our city prosecutor and city attorney amended our ordinance. Now, before enforcement action can be taken, an officer must determine if sleeping space in a shelter is available to a person. The officer must consider 5 factors when making this determination. First, is there a means of transportation available? Second, the distance between the shelter and the person's current location. Third, the operating hours of the shelter. Fourth, the limits on the number of consecutive nights allowed by the shelter. And finally, any shelter policies that would prohibit a person from staying, including requirements that a person participate in religious activities sponsored by the shelter. If these conditions can be met and a shelter is available, but the person refuses to take advantage of it, then enforcement action can be taken on the amended ordinance. The amended ordinance still prohibits a person from obstructing rights of way, impeding traffic, and interfering with the enjoyment of public parks and facilities, and it allows enforcement officers to impound offending property if a person fails to voluntarily remove it. The amended ordinance is just one of many strategies the city uses to address the statewide homelessness crisis. The Chino Police Department recommends that the City Council amend the current ordinance as written by the city prosecutor and city attorney. That concludes my report. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this issue? Okay, council comments? Okay, then I'll call for a motion and a second, please. It's a motion from Councilman Hargrove, a second from Councilman Rodriguez, and I'd like to ask our city attorney to read the ordinance title into the record.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council and audience. The City Council is considering the adoption of ordinance number 2019-020, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, County of San Bernardino, California, amending Chapter 8.80, regulating camping, and Chapter 12.20, regulating conduct in public parks to address changes in law brought about by Martin v. Boise. Reading by title only and waiving further reading. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, and that item did pass 4 yes with 1 absent. Item number 12, Pine Avenue at the SR 71 interchange improvements. Establish a capital improvement project number and accept grant funds in the amount of $1 million from California Department of Transportation. Our staff report this evening will be provided by our CIP manager, Maria Frazier.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Public Works staff, in coordination with Caltrans, is diligently working on completing the environmental and the final construction documents for the Pine Avenue Connector project, which consists of the extension of the eastward from State Route 71 to El Prado and widening from El Prado to Euclid to a 4-lane arterial. Improvements will include a 500-foot bridge over Chino Creek and Cypress Channel, installation of traffic signals, and drainage culverts. The environmental documents that have been prepared for the project have been subject to review by various agencies, including Caltrans. One of the required environmental documents, the traffic impact analysis, reveal that at opening year, the Pine Avenue connector would impact the south and the northbound ramps of the State Route 71 and would reduce the level of service from an A or B to a level of service F. The design team, city staff, and Caltrans staff met on various occasions and generated recommendations that could be incorporated in the design to alleviate the level of service. All the recommendations were to be implemented within the existing ramp's footprint. Although a slightly better level of service was achieved, during the traffic analysis, it became evident that State Route 71 currently operates above capacity during peak hour travel periods. And this state facility requires capacity improvements well beyond the scope of the Pine Avenue Connector project. This information was conveyed to Caltrans management, and the City of Chino presented a strong case to obtain financial support for correction of the ramp deficiencies as a separate project. The City of Chino, in a letter to Caltrans dated April 18, 2019, formally requested funding assistance for a separate project, and on October 29, 2019, the City of Chino received a letter from Caltrans committing to $1 million towards the ramp improvement project. Once these funds are appropriated, staff will follow with the procurement process to select a design consultant to prepare the construction documents for the ramp improvements. The goal is to design and construct the ramps improvements prior to or concurrently with the Pine Avenue connector, so that at opening day, the interchange performs at a much improved level of service. Therefore, staff is recommending council approves the items listed in the recommendation section of the staff report. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Maria. Does anyone in the audience want to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none. Council comments? Tom?
Yeah, Maria, I'm just excited that we got $1 million grant out of the state. That's pretty amazing.
It's a shock.
It's a shock. Yeah, it is a shock. That's great. And so congratulations to you and your staff for putting that grant request in and securing that $1 million. So this is great news. Really good. Thank you.
What kind of time of construction are we looking at now?
We're still looking at the same time construction as originally intended, which is the beginning of 2021, to have the project ready to advertise for construction. So that doesn't change the current schedule. But what it does change is the fact that through the various reviews that we have now, it would help us. Having this project be a separate project would help us with the current project and meeting the requirements that were set forth by Caltrans.
Good, very good. Any other comments? Okay, then I would entertain a motion. Motion from Councilman Hargrove, second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie. Item passes 4 yes with 1 absent. Item number 13, additional appropriation for El Prado Reconstruction Project, ST 181. Staff report once again from Maria Frazier.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Prior to the reconstruction of El Prado Road, staff identified the need to replace an existing 8-inch water line along Gates, DuPont, and Alton Streets, which is a water loop that connects to the water main along El Prado. This water line was programmed to be replaced in a future fiscal year, but a portion of it had to be included as part of the El Prado improvements to avoid disturbing a newly paved street. Only the water main segments immediately connecting to El Prado Road at Gates and Alton Streets were included as part of El Prado reconstruction bid, with the intent of completing the rest of the water line loop at a later date. During construction, our water operations staff recognized that need to upgrade the 8-inch water line to a 12-inch water line. Public Works staff conducted engineering calculations to verify the water demand and concluded that the water line warranted to be upsized. This change in scope triggered a contract change order for the additional items not included in the original contractor's bid. And during construction, additionally, staff evaluated how the disruption of the water service triggered by the construction of the water line would affect the adjacent businesses, and it was determined that the construction sequence needed to be changed to minimize the interruption of the water service. To cause the least disruption to customers, the installation of the 12-inch water line at Alton and Gates required 2 separate water service shutdowns, with one of them needed to be completed on a Sunday to cause the least disturbance. To one of the adjacent businesses that currently runs a Monday through Saturday, 24-hour operation. The construction costs incurred by the change in scope, including additional shutdowns, inspections, and construction engineering, total $160,479. Additionally, Development Services staff approached Public Works and requested a cost estimate for improvements of an existing catch basin lid along El Prado Road, which was not originally part of the scope. This work will be reimbursed to the project via an in lieu fee to be paid by the developer proposing a project immediately adjacent to the El Prado Road. This additional change in scope resulted in an additional change order in the amount of $13,590. Therefore, staff is recommending the council approves the staff report with the recommendations indicated. This concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone would like to address the council on the item? Any comments from council members or questions? Okay, and we're ready for a motion. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Rodriguez, and the item passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. So since the last council meeting, haven't done a whole lot this time, which is nice. On Wednesday, November 20th, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast, which was very well attended. On Thursday, the 21st, it was Water Master Advisory Committee and the Board of Directors. Sunday, the 21st, along with council members Hargrove, Lucio, and Rodriguez, we all attended the Gobbler Gloves boxing showcase, which was very, very nice. It's amazing. Those little kids really are scrappers. On Saturday, the 30th, I attended Betty McCain's memorial service and reception afterwards, and I was so very proud. Many of our city employees attended, which was really nice. She was a very special lady and is really going to be missed. Then today, this morning, I attended the Plains of Fame holiday breakfast for veterans. There were about 100 veterans there, and actually there were 3 World War II vets. So we were really blessed to be able to see, members of the greatest generation. Yeah. And then at noon, it was the West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control Board of Director meeting and holiday luncheon. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and be safe, of course. Also, this Friday, we didn't say it under announcements, but this Friday at 3 o'clock, we're going to be celebrating the Chino Youth Museum's 20th birthday. And there'll be cake cutting at 4:30, so, I invite all those who are interested to please attend. It's going to be a very special day. Mayor Pro Tem Howie.
Boy, I can't believe it's been 20 years for the Youth Museum. Huh? That's great. Just a couple items that I've got. Hope everybody had a nice holiday, Thanksgiving holiday season. And I just have a couple of announcements. One of them is our Assemblyman Freddie Rodriguez. He's inviting us to a holiday open house right here on 7th Street in Chino on Saturday, December the 7th. It seems like a lot's happening on that Saturday, December 7th. It's from 11 to 1. It's a toy drive, so they have refreshments. Bring a toy, and it's going to be a great event over there, basically right across the street from City Hall. Also, the Seroptimus of Chino, Seroptimus Club, is holding their annual holiday auction. The holiday auction, they have a lot of ornaments they auction off. It's going to be at Central Basco Restaurant right here on Central Avenue. And that is Thursday, December the 12th at 6 p.m. So come on out there, and if you want to bid on an ornament or two or some of the things, the holiday things they have, it's a lot of fun. And that concludes my comments.
Okay, Councilmember Hargrove.
Thank you, Mayor. November 20th, I attended the tree trimming ceremony, I guess you would call it, at the City Hall. All the employees got to hang some ornaments on the tree there. It was very nice. November 24th, I did attend the Gobbler's Glove. That's always a nice event. It seemed a little more packed this year, I don't know, than last year, which is a good thing. But you're right, those boxers put it all out there.
I would not want to get in the arena.
Well, there's a couple of big boys there that you're right.
200 and some pounds?
Take on one of those 5-year-olds or 8-year-olds. So.
I don't know, they're
Yeah,
pretty scrappy.
yeah. But December 2nd, which is yesterday, Planning Commission meeting, only a couple minor items on the agenda. That was a quick meeting. And then December 3rd, today, we went to the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce Holiday Luncheon. And if is Vivian around? Maybe she can give us a rendition of that song she sang there. That'd be great. But it was a nice event also. So.
She left. She's there.
Concludes my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Rodriguez.
Okay, thank you. November 19th through 23rd, I attended the National League of Cities in San Antonio, Texas. And I can tell you that every day was really interesting because there were sessions from various parts of the nations that presented. Some of the topics are familiar to what we're dealing with, ranging from housing, transportation, homelessness, water conservation, climate change, youth, and jobs. During the one session, I was able to speak to a group of students from Dallas, Texas, and they were telling me their ambitions and what they wanted to do, and it was very similar to what we do here in California. They have San Antonio. I have relatives there, and I was just told by my brother that we had a great-great-grandmother that was born there in 1831. So I hadn't been back in San Antonio since for over 28 years, and also a lot of relatives in Laredo, Texas, that goes back even further than 1831. But anyway, the same issues that we deal with here in the city of Chino are multiplied by greatly in the state of Texas and San Antonio, and really across the nation. The population of San Antonio 2 years ago was 700,000. It's increased to 1.2. Next year, with the next census, they will have another 2 million. So it's not a tiny, I guess what they say when Texas, everything's big. So it's a big population that's increasing. But a wonderful city to visit, especially during this time of the year where the climate is not as humid. It was very, very nice. And I learned a lot. So I'm able to share a lot with the staff and our city manager and the council later on as to what directions other cities are taking with the different issues that I just mentioned. Here this last Sunday, I attended November 24th, the Gobbler Boxing, and it was extremely well attended by folks from all over the city. And the boxers are tremendous. I mean, ranging in age from, I believe, 8 years old all the way to 16, 22 events, very well presented. And here I was this afternoon, delighted by Vivian's singing, and I think Mark and I were just in the background humming, just like the Four Tops. And I think Taylor's, Two Tops. Taylor Swift has a challenger now. So it was a really good luncheon, and I think we all enjoyed ourselves there supporting the chamber, and everyone had a really nice time. So that concludes my report.
Mr. Ballantyne, anything this evening?
I have no reports, Mayor.
Mr. Galante?
No report either, thank you.
Chief Sims?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share, you had mentioned this Saturday is the YMCA's Reindeer Romp, and the police department will be out there with the sleigh that was here tonight. We're going to have the sleigh out there, and we're asking people to bring unwrapped toys and donate those toys when they come out to the run, and then we'll be giving those back through to the community. And just to remind everybody that the Reindeer Romp is the first run of the Triple Crown. The second run is in February, which is the Russ Miller Run. And this year's Russ Miller Run, the 2020 run, marks the 20th anniversary of his tragic death. So we encourage everybody to participate in the Reindeer Romp and then go all the way through and do the Russ Miller Run and the Derriere. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief. And we have our Fire Chief Shackelford here.
Mayor Ullo and Council, good evening. I just wanted to update you on some upcoming events with the Fire District. Tomorrow, our firefighters will be serving lunch to seniors here in Chino, and a little later in the day in Chino Hills. On Wednesday, December 11th, we have our biggest and best event of the year, and we'll have 100 children from Chino Valley Unified School District. We will be pairing with them and shopping at Walmart. We'd like to thank Chino PD for their support with that. We wouldn't be able to do it without their support, and also the support of all the generous sponsors from our community. And finally, Spark of Love Toy Drive is underway, and you can drop off a toy at any fire station between now and Christmas, and every toy collected stays at our local community. That concludes my report for this evening.
Thank
Merry
you
Christmas
very
to everyone.
much. Merry Christmas to you, too. Okay, we are going to recess now to close session. I'll ask Mr. Galante to read the items.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council and audience. The City Council will now recess into closed session to discuss all three items on the closed session agenda, specifically conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the matters listed under item A, FH Roman numeral 2 LLC DBA Frontier Communities versus City of Chino, the various cases identified by case numbers in per the agenda. Item B, Otilia Ruiz Orozco versus City of Chino. And finally, item C, Chino Basin Municipal Water District versus City of Chino. That concludes the announcement of the closed session items.
Okay, I'll ask council members to recess to the closed session room, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The City Council met in closed session and held a discussion as to, on all three existing litigation matters. Item number 1, FH Roman numeral 2 LLC DBA Frontier Communities versus City of Chino. All of the listed matters were discussed. City Council received an update, provided direction, and no further reportable action was taken. Item B, Orozco versus City of Chino. City Council received an update to the status of that case, no further reportable action taken. Item C, Chino Basin Municipal Water District versus City of Chino. City Council received an update from Attorney Gutierrez, provided direction, and no further reportable action was taken. That concludes the report out of closed session, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, we are adjourned to our next regular meeting to be held on Tuesday, December 17th at 7 o'clock, with closed session at 6 o'clock if necessary. We are adjourned.